Sorry, there was an echo. Hi everyone, good evening. Just started, so just give it a couple of minutes for everyone to join. Just waiting for Jimmy to join. Once Jimmy joins, we'll kick off. We have Jimmy and Sushil. So today's session is about an intro to Chat GPT. But before I mention about that, just wanted to let you know what this Canada IT Club is all about. So Canada IT Club is a community which we have built to bring in all the IT professionals in Canada under one umbrella. So we have regular sessions. So yesterday we had sessions on the immigration to Canada. We have invited one regulated immigration consultant to speak about the immigration process, the express entry, and different options. So we have it recorded and it is actually in YouTube. If you had missed the session, it is very useful session. We have spoke about the express entry, PNP, and everything. And previously we had the sessions on Angular, front-end development, Agile meetup, and day after tomorrow, that which is Wednesday on 12th, we have a session on um, PM meetup for Canada. Whoever is PM, PCO, and all, I have invited a speaker. He will be coming here and he will be explaining about the career paths in PMs and how what is the role of RTE, how PM role got changed with the implementation of Agile. So basically, Canada IT Club is nothing but a common platform for us to share the ideas and build our professional network in Canada. You know that professional network, building professional network in Canada is very important to build your career. So this we are actually just helping each other to build our professional network and share the information. And Jimmy is here. Hi, Jimmy.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, fantastic. I'm just checking if Sushil has joined. I
Yeah,
don't see him on the
Sushil, if you
chat. Oh,
have
he's
joined,
there. He's there. Can you make him a speaker?
I can't. He has to raise the hand.
Oh,
Sushil, you have
Sushil,
to
could
raise
you
your
just
hand.
Sushil, you'll have to work for it.
Yeah, Sushil, there'll be an option to raise the hand or asking to speak, and you just have to raise your hand, and I'll promote you as a speaker. So today's session will be hosted by Jimmy, and I'll be mostly in the silent mode. So if you have Sushil,
I see him on the chat.
Sushil, if you can hear us. Yeah, until Sushil joins, I'll just explain. We have a couple of pages in LinkedIn. One is Canada IT Club, where I share all the information on the latest trends and everything in Canada. And we have another one. It's called Get Hired in Canada. So that is specifically for sharing the jobs which comes our way. So a lot of the recruiters and everyone try to share the jobs, and they tag this Get Hired in Canada page, and that is purely for sharing the jobs in Canada. So if you want, if you're a job seeker, you feel free to follow the page Get Ahead in Canada. There is a lot of jobs which comes which gets posted on a daily basis, and we have a small WhatsApp group where we share all these jobs. If you are interested, you can ping me a personal message, and I'll add you to the WhatsApp groups also. So I'll take a leave. I'll be here, but today's session will be hosted by Jimmy. Jimmy, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Sudhi. Thank you so much, folks, for joining in. I'm just gonna check Sushil. Sushil, can you hear us? Could you unmute and just confirm, please?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, awesome. I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you so much.
Hi, good evening.
So yeah, we have hi folks. We have quite a huge audience here. That's really nice. So folks, today yeah, we've chosen a hype topic, right? And Sudhi is kind enough for all the enthusiasts, including me, and Sushil, who's gone a couple of steps ahead in terms of diving into the application. Today we are sensing and trying to make sense of an upcoming technology like generative AI, and specifically into the Chat GPT application. And we thought we take this up with a Chat GPT trainer. Sushil trains folks on around the world as part of the CAD Center. I'm sure many of you have heard of that brand. And he trains folks into the nitty-gritties of NLPs, LLMs, and using Chat GPT as part of your applications and so on. So, what we have at stake, I mean, from a layman perspective, as far as I see it, we have a technology that requires you to bring a lot of the imagination, creativity, rather than our mundane resilience of bringing in repetitive trial and error and so on. So it's truly a fascinating, pivotal moment in terms of technology. So I have Sushil with me, who let me just quickly give him an introduction. He's an expert researcher. He's a tutor at CAD Center who takes multiple IT courses for the brand. And off late, he has been training AI enthusiasts on Chat GPT as part of his multiple training courses. So, Sushil, I look forward to, for your knowledge nuggets and everything that you'll impart to the folks in Canada. Sushil is based out of India, and it is way early in the morning for him. So, thank you so much. A double thank you. So, without further ado, what we'll do is we'll jump into. I have like 4 5 general questions, and the rest of it will be a discussion. So, Sushil, what is Gen AI, that is generative AI, and specifically Chat GPT, and how does it work? Just for the folks who've probably been sleeping under a rock and have never heard about it, let's just give them a little bit of an intro.
So, hi, good evening, everyone. First of all, I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. And yes, I'm super excited to give some of the answer about whatever queries you people are going to have. So, if we talk about the generative AI refers to the generation of artificial intelligence based system that possess human-like cognitive abilities such as reasoning, learning, and problem solving. If we talk about some of the technologies that are actually available with generative AI, then it is machine learning, your AI for sure, and it is going to be your deep learning also. If I talk about machine learning, that technology actually deals in how the machine is going to create a self-learning skills, how the machine will going to have a capability to learn on the basis of the experience like human actually do. Whenever we talk about the deep learning, we try to address the problem which are highly complicated, the problem which are the real-time problem today we are having, because whatever real-time problem we have nowadays, they are highly complicated even to understand, even to explain, even to elaborate. And if I talk about artificial intelligence, there we talk about how we are able to get an expert system that can provide the responses like a human normally creates. So you actually get a feeling that you are getting a person, or you are getting a very wise person who is very awesome in terms of their knowledge. So any of your queries you can actually ask. And if I'm going to answer that how exactly it is going to work, so yes, it works by utilizing some advanced algorithm, some machine learning techniques, as well as it uses the large language model. So as it is using the large language model, around 176 billion parameters are used by the chat gpt. Okay, so it is having a very huge size of data, and as it is having a very huge size of data, it continually start training on it, and on the basis of the query asked by the user, it start providing the responses to us. Okay, so ultimately it will going to use a very huge size of data, and that particular size of data will be utilized to provide some human like behavior and the intelligent and the responses.
So I think Sushil, what you're saying is, specifically with Chat GPT, we are seeing a software and application that's able to create for the moment, chat and also other applications like it. We are able to give text, video, image, aggregations of everything that has ever been published on the internet, right? And I think it's still 2021. That's the recency that Chat GPT has. That's the recency that DALI has, and all the other video, text, and image generators that we are seeing in terms of AI. So, how can we talk about a little bit more on how this is changing the way we work in specific, right? Because we all have our own professional tracks. Some of us are in the IT field, some of us are in the non-IT field, marketing, sales, multiple fields here in this particular group itself, right? Now, if that is the case, and this group is primarily IT, can we talk about how ChatGPT is changing the way we work in particular, right? And I've got some points as well. I'd just like to hear your kind of academic opinion on what you think is going to be a change in the way we work when it comes to ChatGPT.
Okay, so let me actually start by taking an example of programmers. Okay, programmers are going to be the one who will going to do some innovation in terms of writing a particular snippet of code. They try to write down some codes about some particular process and some routine. So I'm going to take an example of programmer first. You know, a programmer normally write down the program on the basis of the requirement of a client, and whenever they started writing the code, they will going to check it out that what process, what procedure the client is expecting, and they started writing it. But think over it, at the time of writing the code, if the programmer is stucking anywhere, if they are started getting some bugs, if they are started getting some errors into their code, what they will do? At that moment they started going into the Google, and they starting asking a lot of queries, right? They go into the Google, and over the Google they will search it out that I'm getting this kind of error, what can be the solution. So Google will provide 10 different what I can say, the different blogs and all, from where the programmer requires to read about their specific error, and they request to search out what can be the solution of it. But think over it,
Yeah.
now we do not have something like that. What we have, you just have your code which contain some bugs and error. You just copy your code, paste it over the Chat GPT, and Chat GPT will provide complete solutions to you. Even it can correct your code, like in whatever way you have written it, it correct their your code, and after correcting it, it will going to rewrite it for you. Similar way, this is one example. There are so many other segments where there is a huge change. Okay, and people are actually adopting the Chat GPT to change their workflow. Like it is going to be the automation. In case of automation, we are doing a lot of routine tasks, and for doing lot of routine tasks, we are able to use the Chat GPT for doing it. Similarly, for providing an effective support to the customer, if we
Yeah.
talk about any domain of the market, providing a support to the customer plays a pretty important role. The main reason is, if a customer is happy, it means the business will go, a business will proceed very safely and very securely, okay, and very smoothly also. But how to provide the support? But yes, ChatGPT is having the solution for that also, like how to provide effective support to the customer, even in terms of taking the decision also. Like in any case,
Yeah.
if we try to take some good decision, we ultimately able to take the decision with the help of it. Similarly,
Yeah.
for making
I
the
think we're
language
seeing people pull chatbots as well, right? Through the Chat GPT engine on their applications, correct?
Yes, I'm going to talk about that also. Like there are so many segments available, okay, that are having a diversified change. Okay, people use it as a chatbot also. Some of them actually utilize it as a prompt also. Okay, so there are many ways of using the Chat GPT. Okay, and yes, in my coming talks, I'm going to talk about how we are able to boost up the effectiveness of Chat GPT. Like it is good in prompting, but it is not about only the prompt. It is about so many things.
Perfect. Okay. So I think, I mean, from a layman's perspective, I mean, because I'm a non-coder, I remember the transformer model, right, that was released back in the days, which used to predict the next word, and that itself was a huge revolution for the entire workspace, right? Folks used to be like, "Wow, this transformer could, predict the next word in a sentence, or predict or tell one image from another." But I think what has happened now is that Open AI has given the larger population access to Chat GPT. That's the only difference, right? And this has brought on a bit of an access democracy in terms of technology that is this amazing. And now it's come to a point where lay people like, I mean, I wouldn't say lay people, I would say not too technical people like marketers, reporters, let's say recruiters, job seekers, salespeople, they're able to generate text, images, videos, and of course, there's an accuracy element, right? Because this is only fed up till 2021, and the accuracy question, the trust element, it's always a question in everybody's head, and I think especially with big organizations that deal with very sensitive data. So, what are the ethical considerations, Sushil? Let's jump to that question, right? What are the ethical considerations of using AI in business? How do we trust the output of a software like this?
Okay, let me first answer about the trusting part, okay, because the ethical consideration is having so many things to discuss. So, if I talk about the trust in the output of your generative AI, okay, like the responses given by the Chat GPT is actually established through the rigorous testing, validation against known data. Like we already have some data available with us, we will going to create a test set by validating it, like this is the responses given by the Chat GPT, whether these responses are similar to the responses expected by the humans. And if I talk about some of the continuous monitoring are required to ensure the accuracy and the fairness and the ethical behavior given by the AI kind of model, like we have the Chat GPT available with us. So yes, a lot of testings are required for the same. Even sometimes we normally see that the outcome given by the Chat GPT are quite biased. Okay, and when it is going to be biased, it's required to do something to improve it. Like in normal cases, we increase the size of the data there, okay, because might be possible that for whatever topic we are asking our query, might be the Chat
Yes.
GPT is not having enough data for that. If it is not having enough data for that, at that moment you always find out the answer is quite biased, or must be possible that Chat GPT is giving their view about the
Or
query
they say
you
that I
have
don't
asked.
have sufficient knowledge, right? They put it that way as well, right?
Yes, ultimately, if the data is going to be small, ultimately, there is a lack in information the Chat GPT is having. If the Chat GPT is having lesser information, think over it, how it can provide the genuine solutions to us. It is going to be a difficult part. And if I'm going to talk
Right.
about the ethical consideration of using AI in case of business, so I'm going to say there are some bold things that we requires to get taken care, like the transparency and the disclosure about the use of AI model like the Chat GPT, so that user can get clarity about what they are using, its capability, its limitation, and ensuring they are not misled or confused about whether they are interacting with a human or an AI model. Similarly, there is one more big concern available, one more consideration is there, that is the privacy and the data protection. It's required to make it ensure that the data is required to be private. It should not like the data is getting misled because of something. And as well as the bias is going to be another consideration if we are talking about the use of AI in any of the case, as well as the responses given the model like Chat GPT. It requires to have the fairness in terms of their result. The data is required to be unbiased. The responses are required to be unbiased by the Chat GPT. As well as
Yeah.
if I talk about handling the sensitive information, That is going to be the another ethical consideration of AI kind of model. Like right now we are talking about the Chat GPT, that how it is going to handle the sensitive information. It should not like the information is getting changed, or the information is getting an unauthorization access or the breaches, as well as the accountability and the liability is going to be the another concern whenever we talk about the ethical consideration of AI.
Yeah, and I mean the answers I think sound confident, right? And I have seen it, I have used it in my day-to-day work. The answers sound very confident. They sound way too right, but may not be completely right. I mean, folks, I've heard other people say that, and even researchers say that 80% may be correct, right? I would personally trust Chat GPT's reviewing abilities rather than the verification of content it produces from the ground up, right? I would rather have it curate my data to sound better, smarter, concise. Of course, there's a privacy concern, right? I mean, it is a concern that all big companies share and are working towards refining these LLMs to work for employers, to work for specific applications, to work for specific industries. And it's going to get tight, it's going to get legally sound eventually. We've seen a lot of employers and industries moving towards that step of trying to refine and customize these LLMs, right? I think we've just gotten a taste of the pie, and the entire slice is with cream and berries will eventually come. So Sushil, I mean, while we are here, in on now that I've made that point, what are some of the in progress use cases? I mean, you've seen it. Let's make it relevant to the IT and tech audience tonight. I wouldn't be as crass as saying that are the machines going to take over our jobs or whatever. But what are the in progress use cases in the tech field? Right? Let's talk code building, reviewing, or chatbot API and so on. Could you throw some light on that?
Definitely. Let me start one of the very famous segment of the market. Let me talk about the Internet of Things. Internet of
Yeah.
Things are quite famous into the
Yeah.
market, and we have billions of devices available into the market that are actually working on IoT. And if anybody or any person who is belonging to a non-technical platform, like a person who is not actually from the IoT background, whenever they see any of the application created on IoT, they always feel that it is going to be a magic. Okay, like how it is happening. So
Yeah.
if I'm going to talk about configuring the devices that are available on IoT, so the LLM based, like the large language model, is actually utilized there to simplify the setup and configuration of IoT based devices. Even they can understand the user queries and provide the step by step instructions to them. Similarly, if I take another example, it can be the another domain, that is the fault detection and the predictive maintenance, where the LLM analyze the sensor data to identify the patterns and the anomalies in the entire process, and they
Yeah.
can help in proactive maintaining and preventing the failures over there. Similarly, in
Yeah.
case of energy optimizing, the LLM optimize energy consumption in IoT based system, and even they suggest strategies for energy efficient operations. Even there are many more domains available where there we will going to have the direct set of implementation applications available for that, like related to the security, related to the data integration, and the very famous platform that is the analysis. Think over it. You have a problem. Into the problem, you know that you requires to analyze the sales in a supermarket. Okay, you want to analyze the sales in a supermarket, and think over it. You actually ask the same queries to the Chat GPT kind of platform. You just ask that what actually you want, and at the moment you can find out that Chat GPT is saying that okay, to analyze this thing you have to perform these level of steps and the processor. And now you have your own platform available. On that particular platform you will going to create that entire processor. So you think over it, it actually give you a roadmap. that if you really needs to go into it, if you want to go deeper into the analysis to get some information, to get some effective decision, so you start it with a particular step and you can proceed it. So yes, it can give you a big kick that you are able to start by
Yeah.
initiating the things over there. Similarly, there is one more very famous segment I just remembered, that is your smart home automation. Smart home automation, I hope you are aware about that. Philips have
Yeah.
already created one, and the Philips take a lot of money while implementing it. Think over it. A huge setup is required for the same, but think over it. If you have an AI model that is possible to integrate with that particular home automation system to provide a voice controlled smart controls over the appliances that are available over that particular rooms, over that particular houses, or at any other place where it is implemented. Think over it. Yes, LLM model is able to do that also.
Yeah, I mean, just to go back to your other point of the data analysis, right? So, are you saying that data analysts were the rock stars up until ChatGPT got released? No, probably not. I was just kidding. But the idea is that I see that there will be a time in the near future where this whole quote unquote hype term called prompt engineering, it morphs into something little more about having a role in a team where there is an engineer that understands AI architecture and can drive customers and product teams to a certain way of thinking and development, right? So I feel like that prompt engineering role will morph into an actual role that could be very close to a data analyst role today, but with more power and more kind of skills. So whatever you've touched upon, I feel like you've said again, detection, doing more of the boring tasks like reviewing software and coding will definitely be impacted. I believe LLMs are moving towards a point where you can input English and get code out, right? And that's the no code, low code evolution that we are going to soon see with the help of this AI onset. I also imagine, like specific to Canada, where BFS is a big domain, legacy code like spaces like COBOL can be treated for legacy code modernizations and so on, right? I do have the bias bit a little bit, pulling me back to give examples of healthcare because it will always help healthcare folks to come up with the same kind of use cases again and again. But definitely, like you said, AI can be an enabler on the creative side. It can free up time spent in research and trying various iterations. People are definitely going to build applications and products with AI in mind going forward, with AI being the centerpiece of the entire delivery or the customer experience, or the way the product performs, right? So I know I've been asking all the questions. So before we open it up to the crowd for a couple of questions, I've been asking you questions which I had planned, and some are just off topic or continuous of what you said. But what's that one question that I should be asking someone who trains people in Chat GPT, right? What's the question I'm missing?
Okay, Chat GPT is not going to be a very small topic. Okay, it is going to be one. It is going to be the one who will going to address almost every domain nowadays we have. Even sometime I feel surprising by the responses given by it. Even you can ask in
Yeah,
any domain, Chat GPT is having the responses about it. So not one, two, millions of things must be we have that we are missing right away. Okay.
yeah,
And I don't think that just in 20, 25 or 30 minutes we are able to address everything. Okay. So must be, I hope you have discussed about whatever people are available here, that we will going to schedule a workshop related to the Chat GPT where we will going to explore Chat GPT more. My
yeah. I mean,
ideas are
I will have you know what, I will share that details with you, Sudhi. Maybe you can push it through. Sushil has this monthly workshop on Chat GPT,
Sure.
so that'd be good for folks to join if they're interested. So That way you can get into the nitty gritties for sure. So yeah, Sushil, I'll definitely push that through to the group. And maybe now what we can do is, given that we have some time, we could probably take a couple of questions from some enthusiasts in AI. And again, we are again like Sushil said, we're not getting into the nitty gritties, but at the surface level, if you have any queries, and if someone like Sushil or me or anyone else can answer, please do go ahead.
Yeah. So those who want to ask question can raise the hand. I'll promote you as a speaker. But I have the first question. So what is a technical skill set which is required to learn about ChatGPT? I mean, it should be a developer or should be a kind of technical architect. So what is the technical skills? Because I have no idea on that. Can you just give an idea on that?
Okay, hey, I just added one thing that ChatGPT is available almost for every domain. Almost for every domain means like the people belongs to any domain, they are able to use it. I'll tell you one thing very important. ChatGPT is not about just doing the prompting. It's not about you just write down any query and you just ask it. Okay, it's more than that. It's more than that. It means we have to do something to develop something more powerful from the chat gpt. We know the power of chat gpt, like you ask anything and it will provide the responses. But think over it, is today market is really going with the prompting only? No, they are not. Even the people feels that it is so much boring that you just type anything and you just ask the chat gpt. That's why the people will ask that, okay, in place of typing, I'm going to ask anything to the chat gpt, like you people ask to the google assistant, like you ask to the alexa. You just say that, okay alexa, do this thing, okay alexa, do that thing. So whenever you say, you will feel like that now I am much comfortable while communicating with the ai model. This similar way the people are expecting, but how we can do that? So for doing it, definitely we have to go into some programming platform. So ultimately I'm going to say, if somebody is having a knowledge of simple c++ programming and some of the basic knowledge in python programming, yes, definitely they will go with it. Okay, why I'm talking about the basic knowledge of these programming, because I'm not only going to talk about how to work with chat gpt, because you people already know. Okay, must be everybody who is joining here once in their life use chat gpt to get any of their answer, like they are asking any of the quotations to post it into their whatsapp or into their facebook account, and they are just asking the chat gpt over there. Okay, so that is actually happening and you people are actually using it. But I am going to take you to the very next level, where I'm going to talk about how chat gpt will get utilized, not in a way like normal people are using it, but we will going to discuss that how to give the eyes to the chat gpt, how to give the mouth to the chat gpt, so that the chat gpt can interact with the human in human languages, the chat gpt can see like a human. And to give all these properties, definitely we require a programming platform. So ultimately, I'm going to say, if somebody is having basic ideas about C, C++, and a very basic idea about Python, they can easily go for this particular program. So they can easily cope up with the chat GPT and how we can enhance their capability. I hope it is making some sense, right?
So I think we have one more question. Sudhi, I don't know where you're seeing the questions. We have Arjun. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, hi, good evening, everyone. So I had a question that these days this term AI automation is popping up a lot. So I was just curious, how it can impact, and what are your thoughts on AI automation with the regular softwares like Jira and such kind of how it can be integrated with ChatGPT and using a software called Zapier. So I was just curious to know your insight on that.
Okay, whenever we talk about the automation tool like Jira, we know that it is having a level of capability for doing it. But think over it. ChatGPT is having 176 billion parameters. It means it is having more huge size of data. Not only it knows what Jira is doing, even more than that it knows. So it means if you are just utilizing for a broad control, yes, that is definitely possible with it. And even we are able to use the chat gpt to analyze that how to create a complete automation scenario, okay, about without a particular processor. No doubt you require to give some instructions to the chat GPT for the same, and you have to understand the way you have to use the information that is already available with it. So that's why many companies are actually using chat GPT to do their routine task, to do their routine task with the help of the automations. So there is a big scope in it also.
Well, thank you so much, Sushil.
Yeah,
Okay,
today
Arjun.
Sajid, who is a recruiter, he was mentioning that he used Chat GPT to play around with the data and he was starting into data analysis. Jimmy, hope you saw that message in our group
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, he's
Well, I think
using
AI
Chat.
automation, on the field, Arjun, RPA already has set track on that, front. Chatbots, a lot of, predictive analytics and intelligent processing on top of these applications like Jira and all of that will come into play or slash get enhanced through platforms like generative AI, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was going through a lot of articles and everything. So chatbots can be, for small scale business, medium scale business. It has become
Yeah.
easy to establish a chatbot through using these integration.
Yeah, so I know that incessant fear of we are going to a phase of those small businesses having a non-human intervention kind of scenario, but it's true. I feel like I don't think AI will replace humans. I think humans that use AI will replace humans that don't use AI.
And definitely.
Okay, superb. So Pradeep, we have Pradeep on the thing. Thanks,
Okay,
Arjun.
I just have one question. How far is ChatGPT from architecture as a code? Google has this initiative right now that they up you draw a diagram in Draw IO and then it's just start. Of course, it's far away from making a platform, but you start doing your architecture, basic sequence diagram, it starts building more functions. So, how far is whole AI into that where a product manager or a marketing product manager or something like that can come close to developing applications, right? So it of course requires a lot of powerhouse of building up everything from scratch, but how far are we from that architecture as a code, you know?
I'm not going to say that it is going to be far from the architecture domain. Even I'm going to say that again the Chat GPT is having a capability. Might be I'm again and again including this line that Chat GPT is having a capability like I'm the owner of Chat GPT. It's not like that, but definitely it is having a huge capability in answering every domain. Okay, like if I am going to talk about the architecture, the design optimization. In the design optimization, so it can be used to optimize the building designs considering the factors such as energy efficiency, material uses, and the spatial functionality. Even if I talk about the project visualization, the Chat GPT can generate realistic visual representation of architectural design, aiding in client presentation and communication between the architect and the stakeholders that are available into that particular project. Similarly, the code compliance, the sustainable design, collaboration and team communication, historical research, material selection, construction planning, building information modeling, that is the BIM part, must be you used as an architecture person. So in every domain, you always find out that the Chat GPT is having some of the ideas, some of their perspectives, some of the innovations. Even for a designer, sorry for the designers, it is having the innovation results also. Like if I am going to be a designer, ultimately I am going to have a lot of queries in my mind that what can be the new I can create. And creating something new is very much challenging because the new whatever you are creating, you always thinks that it should be acceptable by the markets. So how you can create that? What can be the innovation we can deploy? What type of strategies we are able to keep it into it? So at that moment itself, we are able to take help from the Chat GPT to ask about it, and the
So
Chat GPT will give
that,
an
that,
effective
that this
response.
is where the contention is, like, in my thought process, right? So it relies on existing model and what is being fed to it. But when we are coming to building something from scratch and something new, or ideating something new on architecture level, on design level, I am like not very confident, or probably because of my limited
Yeah,
knowledge. Like,
and
how
but
does
what it does use is those data sets and the aggregation of multiple, right? Of multiple scenarios to give you a couple of options, is what Sushil is saying.
okay. So yeah, those options are based upon the previous data, right? But how far it
Yeah,
can look
previous data.
future ahead, that is still
Yeah,
limited, I think.
it's clearly declaring, Pradeep, that it cannot look in the future. Like it's fed till 2021 September, right? And the thing that is happening right now, the industry shift is that folks are taking that kind of feeding an LLM architecture to kind of customize it to their own areas, right? Refining it with fresh data, refining it with possibilities of the future and scenarios of the future. So that is yet to be explored, but not through Chat GPT, but maybe some custom kind of mimicked software for a particular industry, right?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I think we have Shiva on the
Yeah,
question
hi,
line.
Sushil. Hi, Sushil. My question is, during the session, you guys were talking about the Chat GPT session by Cat Center. Uh, I saw it on LinkedIn, like it's like a 3 day, 2 hour session. What can we expect, or what can I expect as a takeaway if I spend time in this training?
You mean Sushil session that's scheduled for 18th?
Yeah, yeah. But there's something next week, right? 3 days.
Yeah, it's 18th, 19th, 20th, I think. Yeah. Sushil, go ahead. That's yours, boss. Go ahead.
Okay, so ultimately, what I'm planning to cover up is we will going to talk about the basic part of the programming, as well as we will going to talk about how Python is utilized with the ChatGPT to enhance the power of it. And I'm going to talk about multiple domains over there. I'm going to talk about the technical domain that are related to the IT, as well as the non-technical domain also we will going to cover up over there. We will going to see that we are trying to integrate with the Chat GPT to enhance the power of Chat GPT, as well as for some of the domains wherever we find out that the Chat GPT is biased in terms of their rewards and all, we will going to retrain the Chat GPT by giving our own data. We will going to see that how from our side we are able to give it more trained. So ultimately we will perform the machine learning part over there also, like we will give our data and we will start boosting the power of it. We will start understanding that how Chat GPT can improve their responses. Like at the starting, even Jimmy have discussed, like 80% is to 20% is actually the ratio in providing the correct set of answer. Like it is satisfactory for the users. But if we talk about how we can enhance it, it's fine. It is providing 80%, but how we can go with 95%, how we are able to improve the things. On the same thing, the industries are also working right now on the Chat GPT platform, and they are having the job prospect for the same. So ultimately, I'm going to discuss about that also, as well as we will going to talk about how we are able to give the ears to the Chat GPT, because normally we prompt, we write down our queries, we get the solution. But whenever we talk about talking to the Chat GPT, like we talk to the humans, like we are talking right now in this particular meeting, in the very same way how we are able to talk with the Chat GPT, that also we will discuss, as well as how to give the eyes to the Chat GPT. You know, the Chat GPT right now not able to process the images directly. The free version I'm talking about, because it is having two version right now. The latest one is GPT-4 that launched in March 2023, and before that in 3.5, which is right now everybody is using, that is the free version. It is not able to handle any images. Okay, directly it is not able to handle it. But how we are able to develop something that it can able to handle the images, it can understand the images, and it can provide the responses, that also we will going to discuss. So these are going to be the outlines of the program that I'm going to cover up for the 3 days.
Okay, thanks,
Perfect.
Sushil.
Thank you, Sushil. I think, folks, so we'll keep the session to 45 minutes, upon Sudhir's request that, 1 hour is too much on a working day. So thank you. I'd like to take this time to thank each and every one of you who's tuned in. Like Sushil said, we'll send through the link for Sushil's workshop, monthly Chat GPT workshop. I think it's a 6-hour session divided into 3 days. And it's on a weekday, 6:30 to 8:30 Eastern time. So thank you, Sudhir, for allowing us to have this session, and more importantly, thank you, Sushil, and all the other folks who contributed to the conversation. Thank you. Good night.
Thanks, Jimmy, and
Thank
thanks,
you.
Sushil, for joining. And just everyone is aware. In case you guys, anybody is interested to take a presentation or do some session, just let me know. We can arrange a session. And as I said in the beginning, we have a PM meetup on Wednesday, the same time, 9 to 10. Try to join if you're interested. If you're in Canada, if you want to learn more about the PM roles in Canada. Okay. Thanks, Jimmy, and thanks, Sushil, once more for visiting and sharing all the good information.
Yeah,
So,
thank
guys,
you.
Bye
have
Have
a
a
bye.
good
good
night.
one.
Good
Yeah,
night.
bye.
Thank you.